and welcome to Why Not. Now, there's nothing like enjoying a nice game of cricket sitting in the sun on a winter afternoon, especially if cricket is something that's been doing the rounds in all of our minds over the past few weeks.
Yes, with the IPL controversy being the talking point for long now, we decided to get you a special report from Pakistan, and of course we have lots more for you on the show.
It's harder.
On Why Not this week, young Pakistanis react to the recent IPL controversy.
The IPL was a very strong uniting factor between India and Pakistan. To have that taken away is a big deal.
Also, what does the creation of Telangana mean to the youth of Hyderabad?
We don't have any future in our AP, so we want to get Telangana.
And some Why Not Bhavishwani.
So should India have ignored Pakistani players in the auction of the Season 3 IPL?
Well, the Shiv Sena has come out and openly said that no Pakistani player will be allowed to play on Indian soil. And not just that, they've also issued a warning against Shah Rukh Khan, saying that he should go and live in Pakistan simply because he allowed a few Pakistani players on his team.
Well, you've been hearing Indian reactions on that, but what are the voices across the border? Why not travel to Pakistan to find out what the youth there thinks?
पाकिस्तान की प्लेयर की बात करते हैं शाहरुख खान, वो अगर हिम्मत है उसमें तो लेके दिखाइए, खेल के दिखाइए, हम देखें.
The Shiv Sena reacting vehemently to Shah Rukh Khan's support for the men in green. And while the controversy back home takes a new turn, what is the mood across the border?
In all the controversy and all the shouting over the IPL auction, we're trying to get you some unusual voices now. We're at the Lahore University of Management Sciences. This is equivalent to the IIMs and the IITs in India, with a whole bunch of very articulate students, all of whom have many strong opinions, not just about IPL, but also India-Pakistan relations. And I'm going to come to you first, Hijab. You said you were very upset about the way the IPL auction worked out. Why is that?
Cricket is a uniting factor in Pakistan. It's one thing which brings together all the people, and so yeah, it is a very big deal for us, and obviously it did upset the people a lot.
Ali, did you feel insulted as a Pakistani because your players didn't get selected in the auction?
Not insulted as a Pakistani, but I mean, I did feel the pinch. I mean, our sportsmen should be allowed to, show their potential on that field, and they got a lot of positive feedback and limelight for it. And the IPL was a very strong uniting factor between India and Pakistan, and it was something that brought together South Asian cricket. And to have that taken away is a big deal.
Who do you think is really responsible, Osama? I mean, is it the politicians, or is it just people who get easily worked up on both sides of the border?
I think it's definitely the politicization factor that comes into the equation, because we need to understand that sport is something that should definitely be independent of something as convoluted as politics in today's world. And this not only disrespects the spirit of the sport itself, but it also undermines the ability of these players to showcase their talent on the international level.
And I think it's more disappointing for people who actually want relations to go ahead, young people who want things to move forward. I think it's more disappointing for them than the radical segments, because they relish this opportunity because a wrong message was given, whether intentional or unintentional, because cricket is something that relates to the masses, that essentially pulls together the countries. That is something that really affects the impressions of people generally on a people-to-people level.
Interesting point. He's really talking about Pakistan being in two parts. There is that community that wants better relations, that wants better ties, and then there is the more radical community. That's the kind of community that I can tell you, when you're in India, you hear a lot more about. This idea that Pakistan is getting more radicalized, that it's more pulling away much more from India, that there isn't an interest. How do you respond to that kind of feeling across the border?
Well, I think all these questions, they just go back to a history of conflict itself. So this question that you raised regarding the IPL, I think it relates back directly to that, this immediate package that comes with the India-Pakistan relation, because we fought wars with India, and if any of such incidents happen, then it automatically gets traced back to all those hostilities that we've already faced.
There are always going to be a small minority which always has this radical idea of the other state. The role of the government and the role of the state then is to actually discourage these small pockets of resistance, or these small pockets of, let's say, radicalization in both countries. What we're seeing over here is that in India, when you have channels which actually show that this is the plan of war, this is how in the next 3 or 4 days we will be in Pakistan doing this or that, that's something okay if you want to do it, but keep it to yourself. At least do not tell us, because then we cannot even control those small minorities which you say are in a huge number.
You agree?
Yeah, I don't think it's about the media. I think it makes obvious sense for both the governments to blame each other to cover up the lapse of security. So I think this happens in Pakistan as well, that whenever there's an attack, they say RAW was involved, and vice versa. And I think the media just projects the discourse that's being fed to them by both the governments, and they will do it to direct the blame on someone else.
If I can ask you a personal question, people will see you with your head covered. I've seen a lot of students with a very sort of a hijab or wearing the niqab. That's the sort of image that a lot of people are getting increasingly of Pakistan. Young kids who are much more in tune with the Islamic faith. What is it that makes you cover your head?
Respect for my religious traditions, and I don't think that what I think is wrong here is associating people who are or youth who are aligning themselves with their religion, associating them with being radical.